How good is Alliance customer service? Unfortunately, we're about to find out. Welcome back to Miller's in Motion. One of the biggest reasons we picked an Alliance Valor was because of customer service. We also picked our previous rig because of that, and to be honest with you, we were incredibly let down. So we went to friends, we did research, and it kept coming back that Alliance customer service exceeded everybody's. So now we have our first broken part, and it's a non-Alliance part. It's our refrigerator, but you still have to contact Alliance customer service. Before we dive all the way into the video, we'd like to say a quick shout out to all of our Inspire level members. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. It means the absolute world. Now, this video goes back to before we left for Tennessee to about a few days ago. So just know there's going to be some bumping around. So I'm going to put dates on the bottom of the screen so you have a better idea of when it is. So let's time warp back to the other guy. Well, we're getting ready to leave for our first road trip in the Valor. And of course, yesterday, and I didn't notice it all day because I didn't get in and out of it, of course we start having issues with our 12-volt fridge. So we have the Everchill 12-volt residential model, so it's got the two French doors on top and the freezer below. It's kind of a weird scenario too because it is cooler in the fridge, but it's not cold, and the freezer is working fine. So I did a little bit of research. I haven't reached out to Alliance or anything yet, so this is all just me on my own, seeing if I can troubleshoot it. And I did notice that there is a scenario where in these 12-volt fridges, there's one cooling mechanism, and then there's a fan that pushes air up from the freezer, the cooling mechanism of the freezer, not the freezer itself. And then that's what helps cool the fridge portion of it. People have said that those fans can freeze up. So initially what I've done is I've tried to reset it. So I turned it off for a couple hours. It goes without saying we lost some food, obviously. So I tried to reset it for 2 hours. That doesn't seem to do anything. But now I'm going to take off the freezer door because that's where the cooling panel is. So I'm going to see what's going on back behind there and start to figure out what's going on. So let's see if we can't fix this thing. And if not, contact Alliance or Everchill and see if we can't get it fixed and or replaced. So okay, so while I have the panel off, I actually want to show you what this looks like on the back side and what wires do what, so you know if you have to dive into this, kind of where to start checking and what's going on and all that stuff. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to fix it. I think that a fan is at, well, let me flip you out, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is what panel. You can see it's connected with wires, and then there's your cooling coils and all that stuff. So what this snaps on there, that colored wire going up there, that's your power to your fan. And then this black wire, which is unplugged right now, and up here, that is your temperature controls. So that's what tells the fan to turn on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna plug it back in and prop it up so it doesn't fall again. And then I'm going to try and see if I can get this fan to turn on. If it's not turning on, it's one of two things. Either the fan's just out, or there's something wrong with the temperature sensor up above. If it does turn on, then it's faulty. There's something else going on. But anyway, I'm trying to see if I can at least make it work before I call in and see if I can fix it, or something needs to be replaced. So let's reinstall this. All right, well, as you can see, the fan is spinning on its own now. So what I did is I de-thawed this down a little bit, and then I warmed up some of the connections and all that. Obviously, this isn't something I want to do a whole lot of. Oh, hang on. Obviously, this isn't something I want to do very often. I don't fit down there, but it is good to know that you can get it fired back up. So I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe it did just get too frozen up, and by de-thawing it out. So I'm going to go back and review the maintenance schedule for the Everchill fridge and see if there's something you should be doing as far as like a defrosting process or something along those lines. So now we're just going to put it all back together and kind of just monitor it, essentially, is what we're going to do for a little while. But at least we got the fridge working. I mean, I still got to watch the temperature come back down, but we got a shot now. The fan's working. Okay, so for a frame of reference, it is 8:04 a.m. Obviously, this got way out of whack because I turned it off and de-thawed it. So the freezer's at 20 degrees. That's a little bit of a lie. It is pushing cold air now, though. And then the fridge is at 66. So obviously, a lot of this stuff in here is bad now, especially like the milk and the mayonnaise and that. We just haven't thrown it away quite yet. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of see what comes of it. And hopefully we can get some cooler air pump it into the fridge, and get this thing cooled off. That is the mission, at least. The fan was working when I put it back into its position, so hopefully it stays that way. Well, hello, Ryan from the future again. I didn't realize I didn't put a transition in here, and I didn't describe a few things, so we're going to do that real quick. So after a few days, I noticed that the fan wasn't working, and essentially the fridge still wasn't cooling. It actually got worse. So what I did is I did what Alliance asks any owner to do. I did not go any special route because of social media creation. I didn't do any of that. So they ask, if it's a non-emergency situation, they ask for you to email what's going on, pictures if possible, all that good stuff. So I did that. Within 24 hours, I got a response back, and the appropriate people essentially jumped on board. We diagnosed it to a point, and then they said, well, you're going to have to be able to take some readings. And I don't have a multimeter, so I wasn't able to do that. So Alliance authorized me to hire a mobile tech, which I did. And then they came out. Now, this is after we got back, so now we're coming up on about 2.5 weeks since the initial fridge went out. Then the mobile tech came out. They got the readings that we needed, and they also discovered that there's a kind of a flap door that's in an upper assembly that allows cold air to move freely between the lower portion and the upper portion, and that motor was not working. So kind of had a couple of different scenarios popping up all of a sudden. So, and then I submitted that to Alliance. Then Alliance authorized the parts to get shipped here and all that good stuff. So that's where we're picking up now. So sorry, this is jumping all over the place, but I promise we're getting there. Welcome back. For you guys, it's been about, a millisecond or two since we just last left you off. But for me, it's been coming up on about 3 or 4 weeks now. So just to give you some time frame, it's cold now. It is actually the week before Thanksgiving, or the week of Thanksgiving. It's Monday before Thanksgiving. And this big box came in the mail yesterday. It says Alliance on the outside of it, but what it is it's the parts for our fridge. So I'm super excited to finally get this installed, hopefully get our fridge back up and working. I did want to talk just briefly about kind of the process. And, we've dealt with 2 different companies now in just any sort of customer service, warranty, claim stuff, Grand Design and Alliance. Now, those companies have talked to many, many companies. In this scenario, obviously, we're talking to Alliance, but Alliance is kind of the go-between for Lippert, who makes the Everchill. So by far as a customer service experience, we bought into Grand Design because of that and felt a little let down, to be completely honest with you. Not trying to throw shade at them or anything like that, but this process could have been much smoother just by a little conversation, essentially, and that conversation never seemed to be able to happen. With Alliance, from the get-go, anybody that we worked with on this issue specifically, and really any issue, but we're talking about the fridge, has been phenomenal. And I say that in terms of they were always proactive. They were always looking for a solution. They showed empathy when frustrations got a little bit out of control from our side, because, if your fridge goes down for over a month, or roughly a month, that's frustrating. But they stepped up to the plate. They helped. I very rarely had to reach out to them to ask for updates. They were always sending me update emails and correspondence. And so literally just them being proactive changed how we view kind of warranty customer service work. Now, I get the parts, like Alliance doesn't stock these parts, they stock the fridge. And so they had to get Lippert to send us the parts. And sometimes it's kind of, another company's fault. These fridges, these 12-volt fridges they're putting in the Valors, they're new models. And so there's not a ton of parts available. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood and understands kind of that process and what you're getting when you sign up with a manufacturer. So if by sign up, I mean buy a unit, is you really want someone that's going to go out of their way. And we can't speak more highly than Alliance. It's been by far, I'm not going to say the easiest, because I don't think any warranty works easy. I think there's always going to be headaches and there's always going to be little things. But to know that someone has your back, oh, so nice. So Yeah, what we're going to do today is we're going to disassemble the fridge for the third time, fourth time, third time. I don't know. You guys tell me. This has been ongoing for a month or so now, so I lost track. But luckily, most of these parts I've already taken off myself and put back on. So it's literally just swapping parts at this point. So we're going to do that. So before we dive into that, let me clear the fridge, and then I'll kind of grab you and I'll show you just a little recap, mainly for me, of what's coming out and what's going in. All right, well, welcome to the inside of our fridge. I have turned off the fridge. I know there's still some lights on, but that's just because there's power to it still, but it is off. So the first problem we had, if you remember, this unit, so this piece, and then it's attached to this piece here, it has a door behind it, and that's what forces air up and into the fridge cavity from below in the freezer. So there's a little door back there that's down in this section here that wasn't working anymore. So essentially the motor had gone out. That's what the back side of the unit looks like. It's upside down. So, and then behind the freezer, which I haven't opened that portion yet because it's cold, so I'm leaving that till the last minute. This section, which is essentially a fan, you can turn it right side up here. So this section goes on the back of the freezer wall, and then it houses a fan, and honestly, that looks like a more sturdy fan anyway. And then that fan is what forces air through this hole up into this section in that cavity. So the fan was having some problems. Not this one, this is the new one. That fan had been having some problems, and then that door was having some problems. So we're going to replace this first, and then we're going to get to the freezer and replace that section. So that's kind of the mission. I'm not going to just, I've installed and uninstalled this so many times now. I'm not going to go through all of that again, spare you. So I'll tell you that I'm going to do it. And then when I come back, I'm going to tell you if I think the fan's on, if the door's moving, if I can tell. And then we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a minute when I'm done doing all that. Okay. So parts have been replaced. Now, here's the moment of truth. So we do need to let this sit for a little bit and kind of figure itself out. So I did a hard reset as well, just to kind of cover all my bases. So we replaced both pieces that Lippert sent over, or Everchill. Our fridge temperature is at 73, which is kind of where it's been. The freezer's at 25 now, but that's because I've had it open for the last hour. I'm actually surprised it's that warm. So the parts are installed, and now the waiting game. So we're gonna wait a few hours. If you notice, I haven't put shelving or anything back in here yet, just in case I gotta get behind that panel again. So anyway, we're gonna see what happens. So 73 and 25 now. So and this temperature might go up. I have the doors open. So we're gonna close those doors, seal them up, and we'll see you here in a little bit, and hopefully finally wrap this video up. This might be the longest tenured shoot I've ever had. We're coming up on a month. All right, this is full cheating because I know what happened on the inside. Let's take a look and see if this fixed our fridge. And yes, I have already put everything back in there. You have no idea how good it feels to have that working again. It's been about a month, and we are beyond ecstatic about the process. While it did take a minute, everybody involved with it from the Alliance side absolutely met and exceeded our expectations. So yes, I would have loved to have it fixed like that, but in the reality of life, that's not necessarily the case every time. So, oh, it feels so good. I get to shoot an email now to Alliance to say, we're done. It's holding its temperature pretty good. Obviously, when I put a bunch of stuff in the fridge section, it did draw. It slowed the cooling down because everything wasn't as cool, especially when I put the freezer back together. But now that it's caught up, it seems to be doing pretty good. It did take about 4-ish hours. But again, I threw a bunch of stuff in there that was not cool. So that's some of that. Hopefully you learned something from this, or at least got some entertainment out of our misery, I guess. And we will see you next week. Bye, Mom.